Have you ever wanted something so badly that you visualize it every single day, only to feel like you're literally getting nowhere? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating motivational theory from the YouTube channel Level Up Life Motivation. We're going to impartially break down a concept that totally flips the script on how most of us are taught to achieve our goals. It's called the manifestation paradox, why trying keeps you waiting. The core idea here is that traditional goal setting might actually be the exact thing keeping you stuck. If you've ever felt like you're putting in all this mental effort but getting zero results, this breakdown of their framework is going to be incredibly insightful. The source material kicks things off with a pretty counterintuitive question. Why does trying push desires away? According to the channel, there are millions of people out there repeating daily affirmations, mapping out their goals, and doing all the mental heavy lifting, but they just stay stuck exactly where they started. The effort is there, right? The desire is definitely there, but the results just aren't. So we really have to ask, what's fundamentally going wrong in this process? To illustrate this, the video uses a super relatable example. Just imagine someone who wants to advance in their career, and they're obsessively visualizing receiving an email offering them a major job promotion. They picture the glowing screen, they imagine reading the words, they're putting all their mental energy into attracting this one specific event. Honestly, it sounds like standard motivational advice, doesn't it? But the channel argues that this specific type of intense visualization is exactly where the trap begins. Let's look at part one, the manifestation paradox. Here we'll explore the mechanics of desire and the psychological roadblocks we unknowingly set up for ourselves. So the very first step in understanding this paradox is looking at how the source actually defines manifesting. They define it as treating a promotion, or really any goal, as a target in the future. And this is exactly where the paradox is born. The source asserts that when you treat a goal as a future target, you're actually making a subtle confession to yourself. You're confessing that the goal is currently missing from your life. This leads to what they call the silent admission. The channel argues that every single attempt to attract that email silently broadcasts a powerful message to your deeper mind, confirming that you don't actually have it yet. It's this silent admission of lack. Your conscious mind is shouting, hey, I want this, but the constant desperate effort of trying to get it is telling your deeper mind, I am currently without this. This subtle admission leads us directly to part two, the trap of waiting. This is where we get stuck in a psychological holding pattern. Central to their entire framework is this really bold metaphysical quote. Reality acts as a mirror that reflects identity rather than wishes. Now, we obviously can't confirm this as objective science, but the channel suggests that the external world doesn't really care what you want or what you're wishing for. Instead, they argue that reality simply acts as a mirror, reflecting who you are fundamentally being. It reflects your identity, not your desires. Building on that mirror concept, the channel explains that all the effort you're using to pull your future goal closer only serves to reinforce a very specific identity, the identity of the waiter. Because you're constantly trying to get something you don't have, your core identity becomes that of someone who is perpetually waiting. And if reality is a mirror reflecting your identity, like the source claims, well then being a waiter means reality will just keep reflecting more situations where you have to, you guessed it, wait. So how do we fix this? That brings us to part three, thinking from the end, and how to collapse this gap. To accurately convey this framework, we have to compare standard manifesting with what the channel proposes instead, which is remembering. On one hand, manifesting treats goals as missing future targets. You're basically confessing it's missing. But on the other hand, remembering is a mental drop into the past, which creates a state of effortless certainty. You aren't desperately reaching out for the future anymore. You're shifting how you view the event entirely. The channel provides these specific cognitive steps to execute this mental shift. Step one, instead of placing the event ahead of you as a goal, you mentally drop the event behind you. Step two, treat it as a finished memory. Basically, tell yourself it's already happened. And finally, step three, because it's a memory of something that's already occurred, you naturally accept the quiet certainty of ownership. You don't sit around hoping a memory happens, you just quietly know it did. Let's move on to part four, the shift in identity. This is all about achieving what they call a state of naturalness. According to the source, the outcome of remembering, of executing this mental drop, is that it triggers a state of naturalness. Because you're viewing the goal as a finished memory, that awful desperation of seeking just vanishes. It's immediately replaced by this effortless certainty. And perhaps most importantly, the channel notes that this state requires absolutely no struggle to maintain. You don't have to force yourself to believe you got the promotion, just like you don't have to force yourself to remember what you had for breakfast, right? It's just a natural fact in your mind. This brings us to the real tipping point of the theory, accepting the new identity. Once your consciousness fully accepts this identity, the identity of someone who already possesses the promotion, rather than someone just hoping for it, the source claims a fundamental shift occurs in how reality responds to you. In this framework, you're no longer the waiter, you are now the owner. And that leads to this pretty striking quote, attributing this metaphysical mechanism strictly to the channel Level Up Life Motivation. They state that once this identity shift happens, the external reality has no choice but to reorganize itself to match the new source. In their philosophy, because reality is a mirror, once your internal identity changes to one of ownership, the reflection, meaning the external world, literally has to adapt to match this new, finished memory. So what's the theoretical result of this external reorganization? The email finally arrives. That promotion email lands right in your inbox. According to the theory, the external world catches up to the internal reality you've already cemented as a finished fact. Ultimately, the explainer's final conclusion is this. Success happens not because you put in forceful effort to drag the future toward you, but specifically because you stopped waiting. You completely bypassed the trap of future-focused desire, and you simply remembered that the goal was already yours. So I want you to look at the goals you're currently chasing. Ask yourself, are your goals targets in the future where you're constantly reminding yourself that you lack them? Or can you mentally shift them into being finished memories from the end? It's a really fascinating paradigm shift that challenges the very nature of how we strive for success. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. We're going to leave you to reflect on what you might need to stop waiting for and start remembering.